Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable. Hope you're all well. Saturday morning, I haven't done a park run for once. I am in my local park, Oak Hill. I'm about to do a bit of a run. I'm going to go through this park and then onto some other parks that are a little bit beyond this one. And I've got on my feet one of my favourite shoes from last year. And I know a lot of you had some issues with this shoe, with the heel, but those that didn't, I think you pretty much all love this shoe. And it is, again, Hoka Mach X2. So I've decided to keep it in the Hoka family because I've got this 20-mile race tomorrow, and that's going to be in this yellow X1 2.0 Hoka shoe, new racing shoe. So I thought, right, today I'm going to use one of their daily trainers, and this is one that those that haven't used it, it's one which you can really go up tempo in. It's really great for lots of different types of runs. Today it's going to be quite an easy pace for me, maybe 7k max, because I've got 20 miles to do tomorrow, and it's nice and bouncy, just bounces you along. It's got a nylon plate, so it gives you that stability with the plate, but it has a nice little pop, a spring forwards, nice geometry with a nice rocker, as you often get with Hoka shoes, and good cushioning. I think it's got 43 millimeters in the heel, around about 6 millimeter drop, so lots of cushion in the forefoot. One of the best daily trainers out there, along with the Adidas Evo SL, which I'm hoping to get in soon. I wanted one of the new colorways of that one, so it's taken me a while to get it. And also I just got beeped at someone who I didn't know the word, but anyway, I tend to get that now, so I don't know whether it's just friends or people I actually know about this channel, which is kind of weird, but anyway, I do get lots of beeps. But going back to the shoe, it's kind of a rival to the Adidas Evo SL, and also you've got some other shoes, similar shoes in this category, like the Super Blast, like the Nova Blast 5, those kind of shoes. So I hope you're all well, like I said, and I'll get on with my run. I'll do some run footage, and you can see my thoughts on the run. I'm going to do loads today. It's going to be a short video. I'm just really getting prepared for tomorrow, getting the cobwebs out of my legs so I can attack that 20-miler. You can see where I am for the marathon. And for all you people doing the marathons, I know there's a few of you, some are doing it in Holland, some are doing it in Australia, some are doing London with me, some are doing Manchester, some are doing other ones all over the world. Good luck with your spring marathons, and I hope your training is going well. I'm looking forward to all the stories you can share with me about how it's all going, and how it goes on the day, of course. But with that, I'll leave you. I love you and leave you, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Right, so as I said in the intro, I've got this 20-mile race tomorrow, so I wanted a shoe on today that is both soft, comfortable, but also going to be easy to work with, i.e. not a struggle at all. So I wanted something with a little bit of zip, something that's going to have a nice geometry, keeps me rocking forward without me having to put too much effort into this run, because this run is about me relaxing, getting the legs ticking over, but not exerting much energy today. So those of you that have got races, like longer races, like half marathons, 20 milers like I have, I always find it's good practice the day before not to have a complete rest, but do a little run, maximum 7k, probably 5 is probably better, and pick a shoe that you trust, stable, but also something that's not going to be hard work, right? You don't want a really heavy shoe or something that you have to work against half the time, which obviously is not a great shoe anyway. You wouldn't pick those. But like, for instance, I had a choice today of something like this, the Hoka Mach X2 or the Hoka Skyward X, and I chose this shoe. It's lighter, a little bit zippier. I find it slightly easier to pick up the pace in this shoe, but also comfortable enough. Whereas the Skyward X, a shoe I love, is so cushioned and lovely, but it is a heavier shoe. And although I'm not that too much bothered about how heavy a shoe is, still, for this kind of run, I prefer something like the Mach X2. Both great shoes, and it just shows you actually what an amazing job Hoka have done in recent years, and in the past year or so with their shoes. I mean, you've got this one, Mach X2, you've got Skyward X, you've got the Mach 6, which everyone says is brilliant. I haven't got it. I kind of feel like I'm not sure where that would fit in my rotation, but let me know in the comments if you think it's a shoe I should get. Lots of people rave about it, so maybe it is worth purchasing. So you've got the Mach X2, Skyward X, you've got the, like I said, Mach 6. You've also obviously got the Cielo X1 and now the Cielo X1 2.0, the race day shoes. Not forgetting the Rocket X2, which I know a lot of you really like as well. I haven't got that shoe actually, but again, I've heard that's a really good 5k, 10k shoe. So when I start doing more of those speed races, 5k, 10ks, after I've got this marathon out of the way, might be a shoe I look to try and get on the cheap somehow and test it out. Because just because the shoe's a couple of years old, 3 years old or whatever, it doesn't mean it's a bad shoe anymore. In fact, lots of times they're still amazing shoes, these shoes, right? So anyway, going back to these shoes, more importantly, these I think are one of the most versatile shoes out there, in the sense that you can go slow in this shoe like I'm doing now and it feels perfectly fine, but you can pick up the pace, and I know some people have even run marathons in this shoe. I've got a mate from my running club who's run a marathon. He ran the Amsterdam Marathon in this pair, and he told me they were amazing shoes for that marathon. So that's why I kind of feel like these are rivals to shoes like the Super Blast and the Evo SL, Adidas Evo SL, because you can actually use these like those shoes for racing, and they won't half do well. I use the Super Black, funny enough, the race I'm doing tomorrow, the Milton Keynes Twin Lakes, which is the 20-mile race that I mentioned. I've run that twice now, and last year I was going into that just coming back from an ankle injury, and pretty much everyone said don't run it. You've come off 5 weeks, 6 weeks of not running because of the ankle injury, and you're going straight into the 20-miler. But me being me, decided I was going to run it, and I'm glad I did actually, because I ran it in the Super Blast. I got so much confidence. I finished the race in a slower time for me, 2 hours 30, but still I finished strong, and the Super Blast protected my legs, cushioned, and they're very stable, so it supported my ankle. And all in all, that was a real big kind of slap on the back for me, ready for the marathon that was happening a month later, the London Marathon, which I did last year. So, you know, you can use these races to build your confidence a little bit. Is guess what I'm saying? They can, of course, have the opposite effect if you have a nightmare. But you also got to remember that you still have time in your final weeks of marathon training to do some fine tuning, to look after your legs a bit more, to make sure that you're ready for these marathons. So see it as an opportunity to make sure that you're ready for the main event. So for me tomorrow, the 20 miler is going to be a good baseline to see where I am. So my previous best 20 mile race result, I'm going to get across here, no, it's 2 hours 13, and that was set in the Bedford Festival of Running last year. So that was before I took on Chicago, and that was 2 hours 13, as I said. So that's in my sights for this one. So I'd love to be able to knock 3 minutes off that and do a 2 hours 10. And that would basically mean that I would be on course for my sub 3 marathon, you know, in London, and then anything else for me is quite a bonus, really. So, you know, my marathon PB, for those that don't know, it's 2 hours 55, set in Chicago last year. That's obviously on my mind. So, you know, putting a good 20 mile time up there that makes that possible, you know, is, you know, what I'm aiming to do tomorrow. So while I've got thoughts in my mind, this is quite a cambered pavement. It's quite a slant from the top where I am to the bottom, which I'll go now, down here. So these shoes, not often shoes, there's a lot of shoes that don't cope with cambers very well, particularly the racing shoes, but this one, this Mach X2, is fine. It feels very stable. Another positive with this shoe. Really nice and grounded. Even though you've got this big stack, when you land on the forefoot, you do feel like you're getting some ground feel, even though you're not because of the stack, but it doesn't feel too wobbly or too elevated. It's got a nice landing area, a nice landing pad for your forefoot strike, and all in all, feels like quite a stable shoe, to be honest. Get good lockdown in this shoe. It's quite a tight fit, so hugs the midfoot, so those with wide feet like me, you know, you're going to feel it's a bit tight, but in some ways that helps with the lockdown, right? And as I said, often with these shoes you're going to run fast because they're like shoes that want to go up tempo. So, you know, it's nice to have that snug, tight fit for those runs. It's got a very racy style upper, which is lovely and light. And it's only the heel issues, I think, that people were having with this shoe that let it down. But the next version that's coming very soon apparently fixes that. It's got the same kind of heel as on the new Cielo X1 2.0. So that should fix all those issues that you're having, because the Cielo X1 2.0, that the heel there and the counter and the collar is perfect. You know, it feels great. Never had any issues with those. Doesn't rub my Achilles or anything. It just feels perfect. So it could be a real winner, the next version of this, if they've improved the upper as well. So yeah, so let's give it a little bit of speed. I don't want to go too crazy because of tomorrow. So naturally, when you pick up speed, it actually feels better. Feel your you feel the rocker coming into play and the foam. So it's got a mix of PEBA and dual blend of PEBA and EVA foam. PEBA at the top, EVA at the bottom to add stability. And when you do pick up the pace, you're engaging that PEBA a bit more, and you get nice compression, decompression. Don't really feel the nylon plate too much in this shoe. Ring plate, it's there is a stabilising agent more than anything, I think, because you've got that soft PEBA foam. It doesn't feel as soft as the X1 2.0 because of that EVA foam. It firms things up a bit, so it feels a lot more stable than that shoe. So like I said, those that actually wanted to take this shoe for racing, you want a stable racing shoe. It's going to give you nice propulsion, nice compression, decompression, without having any crazy bounce like you get sometimes with carbon plated shoes. You're going to like this shoe, I think. And I think that's pretty much all I want to say. Yeah. Thank you. I'm enjoying this nice summer's weather, spring rather, but it feels like summer. 14 degrees. I'm out here in my tank top, showing off my guns. Calm it, Ed. And enjoying all that spring has to offer with the nice blossom that you can see in this tree in a minute. Look at that. Can you see that? Really nice blossom in that tree. Now we go up this viaduct. Oh, viaduct. Or bridge. More like bridge, I think. I think there is a viaduct, but I'm not there yet. Steady down, Ed. Steady on. Yeah, very impressed with these shoes. All in all, I think if you like these shoes, they fit well, you're going to get a lot of usage out of them. They're going to be just right for your marathon training, where you want to pick up the pace a little bit, or even for runs like this where you just want to relax, let the world pass you by, and do it in a comfortable but shoe that's going to give something back to you. And that's all I want to say. Goodbye, love you all, see you soon. Is that a viaduct or is that a bridge? Probably a bridge. Bye bye. Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable, and this is a really quick review of a shoe that I really love. I've reviewed it before, but I thought I'll do a little summary of it again because of how good this shoe is for marathon training. So this, as you can see, is the Hoka Mach X2. Now, I've got a 20-mile race tomorrow, as some of you know. I'm going to be using the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0 in that 20 miles. So I thought today that I would wear a Hoka shoe for a little training run, nothing too extensive, just about a 7k run, mainly on the flat, and I wanted something which was comfortable and cushioned but had a little bit of zip. And this shoe, the Hoka Mach X2, I know you said Cielo, Mach X2, it's one of the best shoes out there for those kind of training runs, where you want a bit of assistance with this PEBA. You can see the PEBA foam here. The orange is EVA, so that firms things up a bit and provides that stability. And then this kind of nice greeny blue is the PEBA, and as you can feel, it's softer, and that gives you that nice soft bounce as you land. I land in the forefoot, and you can see there's lots of the PIBA foam here, and just there below you can see the wing plate also, I think, to add stability to the ride. So why I like this shoe for those kind of runs is, as I said, it's quite a zippy, poppy shoe that like pops you along, requiring very little energy. So if I compare this to the Skyward X, which is also a bouncy shoe, I find this one feels a lot lighter, and it is a lot lighter. It's 260 odd grams, so it's comparable with shoes like the Super Blast, like the Balos, like the Neo Vista. But this shoe I particularly like because it's got a nice racing style mesh upper that's very lightweight. I got very good lockdown in this shoe. Some people get the heel rub here because of some stitching back here. I didn't get that at all. I got really good lockdown. It's quite a flimsy heel counter, and quite a lack of padding around the collar for what you would normally get in a daily trainer. So what they've basically done, Hoka, here, is they produce a shoe that you can use for your daily miles, but you could also, in theory, use this for some racing. Now, I've got a friend of mine who's used this for an actual marathon. They ran the Amsterdam Marathon in this shoe, and they said it performed really well. So it's also an option for those of you out there who want to do a marathon, but not necessarily in one of these harsher carbon plated shoes. You've got a nylon plate here, which is a lot softer, a lot more flexible than the carbon plate. So you get a little bit more mobility. When you land, you can toe off a little bit more in this shoe. It's not as rigid. And for those of you that like that, I wouldn't describe it as having ground feel, but you definitely feel like you're connected a little bit more than you would do if you had a carbon plate beneath you, the ground. So all in all, I really love the feel of running in this shoe. I think it's one of the best daily trainers that you can go fast in out there on the market. And like I said, it gives you a nice assistance. So today, with that race in mind, all I really wanted to do was go out and use a shoe that would be able to allow me to do those miles and give me a little bit of assistance, and one that allows me to mix the pace up a little bit. I can either go slow, go a bit quicker, depending on how I felt. My legs felt a little bit heavy today, so I didn't go particularly fast. I just let this kept rolling me along. It's got a nice early stage rocker, as you can see, and I was rolling through my stride, and this gave me that assistance. I think this is a shoe that you could use for your up-tempo runs as well. I think if you wanted to use this down the track, it would be perfectly fine. It's not as quick and as poppy as a carbon racing shoe. So if you compare this with, say, the Cielo X1 2.0, hasn't got that amazing, like, massive bounce, and it hasn't got that massive propulsion that does because of the plate and also the full PIBA. But it does have that really nice, this does have a really nice bounce, one that just keeps you bounding along. I think Hoka in general, I've got some really nice shoes out there. So if you think about like a rotation that you could have with Hoka, you could have the Mach 6 or the Hoka Skyward X for your slow runs. You could have something like this for your more up-tempo runs, and you could have the Cielo X1 maybe for your long runs or your racing, or you could have Cielo X1 2.0 for your absolute, let's put the foot down, hammer it, race day shoe. So that's kind of all I want to say about this shoe. I really like the upper in this shoe. I had no heel problems, but you need to check that out because that could be a deal breaker with this shoe. I know the next version of this shoe, though, it's coming out soon, will fix that. It will have the same heel collar and same heel counter as you've got in the Cielo X1 2.0. I really like the midsole. Love the geometry. I love this PIBA underneath my forefoot. The plate, this lower hanging plate, works well for me. I feel like it's more of a stability agent than actually give me a lot of pop going forward. And it's winged, so it keeps my foot centered. I don't get much movement left or right, so I find this shoe quite stable. Others have said it's not stable in the heel. I found it reasonably stable actually when I was doing some heel striking because of how wide it is. But I guess I'm not a good candidate for judging that because I'm not always landing on the heel. I'm often landing about here. One thing I would say, grip is pretty good, But I think the durability of this shoe might be a bit questionable. You can see in this shoe, I'm wearing away this area, the tread's almost gone, and I'm wearing away this side bit of the foam here where the rubber is worn away, the tread is worn away a little bit. And I haven't done absolutely loads of miles in this. I think I'm probably at around 60 miles. So it's not like I've used it massively. So that's slightly concerning. I do land exactly there though, so that's getting a lot of pounding. But that said, I expect it to hold up a little bit better than that. It is soft rubber, so that might be a reason. But you know, that's a minor quibble. I think all in all, they're my absolute likes. I haven't really got a dislike in this shoe. The only thing I would say is some of you will have this heel problem where you get a lot of heel rub here. That wearing away, slight dislike there. I would expect a little bit better for my money than that. And I find the price is acceptable at 160. Be nice if it was a £10, £20 less, but that's reasonable considering what a nightmare it is in terms of price of running shoes. The only other thing is it's a little bit tight around the midfoot, but to be honest, a minor quibble. In many ways, I think that's what gives me a good lockdown. My foot is pretty firmly in place in this shoe because I've got wide feet, so I don't have any lockdown issues. So all in all, they're my thoughts on the Hoka Mach X2. I think this is a viable daily trainer where you want to go up tempo. It gives you lots of assistance. Looks lovely bouncy PEBA foam here with the stabling agent of the EVA underneath in the orange. I feel like the race fit upper makes it reasonably light at 260 grams. And it's a shoe that I'd be happy to go down the track with, or I'd be happy to do some, you know, up-tempo miles. I would even be happy to race in this shoe. Maybe at some point I will race a 5K in this shoe and just see how it compares with some of those others. I know you, David, ran a decent time in the Hoka Skyward X, and I wonder if I could do something similar in this shoe and prove that you don't always need a carbon-plated shoe to run fast. But that's for another day. Tomorrow I've got the 20 miler where I'll be wearing the Hoka X1 2.0, and I will, after that race, have a really good idea whether that could be my London Marathon shoe or not. But thanks for listening. Love you all. And yeah, I got to 500 subscribers. Really happy about that. So thank you all for supporting the channel. Yeah, if you've got any thoughts on this shoe, put them in the comments. If you've not tried it, I suggest if you're looking for an up-tempo daily trainer, check it out. I think the real rivals are the Super Blast and the Adidas Evo SL for this shoe, along with the New Balance Balos and the Neo Vista. They're the kind of rivals I see for this shoe. There's probably a few more that I haven't mentioned there, but this is definitely one of the best of the bunch, one that I look to when I want a shoe just to make me smile and give me those relaxed miles where I can just go a little bit quicker if I need to. And that's all I want to say. Have a great weekend. Race report coming up tomorrow, hopefully, if I'm not too tired, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.